What do you do when a man insults your dead mother in front of 30,000 people? Most people explode. Some cry. Babe Ruth went silent, and that silence was more terrifying than any scream. Detroit, May 5th, 1924. Ty Cobb and Babe Ruth, the dirtiest player versus the biggest star, the old guard versus the new era. A rivalry that's been boiling for 5 years. Today, it boils over. Cobb says 7 words. Ruth says nothing. Just stands up, walks toward Cobb. And what happens next almost ends both their careers. But let's rewind a little. Detroit, Michigan, Navin Field Clubhouse, May 5th, 1924. Monday morning, 10:00 a.m., 3 hours before first pitch. The Tigers' clubhouse smells like tobacco, liniment, and old leather. Wooden lockers line the brick walls, spittoons in corners. A single window lets in weak spring sunlight. The room is loud. Players talking, laughing, preparing for the game. New York Yankees are in town. Always a big draw. Always means a full stadium. Always means Babe Ruth. And in Detroit, that also means Ty Cobb. 2 men, 2 legends, 2 completely different versions of what baseball should be. Ty Cobb sits in front of his locker, 37 years old but looks older, hard face, cold eyes, body lean and wiry from 19 seasons of playing the most violent style of baseball anyone has ever seen. Cobb does not hit home runs. He hits singles and doubles, steals bases, slides spikes high into infielders, cuts them, makes them afraid. That is how Cobb plays, through fear, through intimidation, through violence. He believes baseball is war, and in war, you do whatever it takes to win. Cheat, fight, injure. No rules except winning. Cobb has a 367 career batting average. 12 batting titles, 3,000 hits, one of the greatest players in baseball history. But in 1919, everything changed. Babe Ruth hit 29 home runs, shattered records, changed how baseball is played. Before Ruth, baseball was Cobb's game. Small ball, strategy, manufactured runs. After Ruth, baseball became about power, home runs, entertainment. Crowds did not come to watch Cobb steal second base anymore. They came to watch Ruth hit the ball over the fence. And Cobb hates it, hates Ruth, hates what Ruth represents, hates that his style, his philosophy, his entire career is becoming obsolete. Cobb's teammate, Harry Heilman, sits down next to him. Yankees today. Ruth's probably going to hit one out. Cobb does not look up. Ruth is a fat buffoon, swings like a drunk. Lucky, that is all. Lucky? Heilman laughs. He's hit 189 home runs in 5 years. That's not luck. Cobb finally looks at him. His eyes are ice. It is a gimmick, flashy. Crowds love it because they are stupid. But real baseball, real skill, that is what I do. Ruth will fade. Gimmicks always do. But Cobb knows the truth. Ruth is not fading. Ruth is dominating. And Cobb is aging, slowing down. His batting average is still strong, but his legs are not what they were. He cannot steal bases like he used to, cannot intimidate young players who grew up watching Ruth. The game is passing him by, and he cannot accept it. Another Tigers player, Bob Fothergill, walks past. Heard Ruth's in the batting cage already. Guy never stops practicing. Cobb's jaw tightens. Of course he is. Has to practice. No natural talent. Cobb, come on. You can hate the guy. But you cannot say he's not talented. Cobb stands, grabs his bat. I can say whatever I want, and I will say it to his face if I feel like it. He walks out toward the field. Heilman and Fothergill exchange glances. This is going to be a long day. Navin Field, 11:30 a.m. Batting practice. The stadium is empty except for players, coaches, and a few early arriving fans. The sun is bright, sky clear. Perfect day for baseball. Babe Ruth stands in the Yankees' batting cage, 29 years old, 6 feet 2 inches, 215 pounds of muscle and power. He is wearing his Yankees uniform, number 3 on his back. His bat is massive, 42 ounces. Most players use 32, 36-ounce bats. Ruth's bat looks like a tree trunk. The pitcher throws. Ruth swings. The sound is different when Ruth makes contact. Not a crack. A thunderclap. The ball rockets off his bat, climbing, disappearing over the left field wall. 400 feet, maybe more. Ruth grins. That never gets old. Lou Gehrig, Ruth's teammate, stands nearby watching. How do you make it look so easy? Ruth shrugs. I do not think about it. I just see the ball and hit it, hard as I can. That is the secret. Do not think. Just hit. Cobb would say that's not real baseball. Ruth's smile fades slightly. Cobb would say a lot of things, most of them wrong. Gehrig hesitates. You know he hates you, right? Like really hates you. I know. Why? Ruth spits on the ground. Because I made him irrelevant. Used to be, baseball was his game. Now it is mine. He cannot stand it. You ever talk to him? Try to make peace? Ruth laughs. Hard, bitter. Make peace with Ty Cobb? You ever meet the man? He does not do peace. He does hate. That is all he knows. Across the field, near the Tigers' dugout, Ty Cobb watches Ruth take batting practice, watches the balls fly over the fence, watches the crowd of Yankees players gathered around Ruth, laughing, joking, watches Ruth be the center of attention, always the center. Cobb's hands grip his bat tighter, knuckles white. Game time, 2:00 p.m. Navin Field is packed, 30,000 fans, standing room only. They are not here to watch the Tigers. They are here to watch Babe Ruth. Cobb knows this, feels it. The crowd buzzes with anticipation every time Ruth steps to the plate. They go silent when Cobb bats. That silence is worse than booing. Silence means indifference, means they do not care. First inning, Ruth comes to bat. 2 men on base. The crowd roars. Tigers pitcher, Rip Collins, stares at Ruth. Ruth stares back, grins, points his bat at Collins. Showmanship. Always showmanship. Collins throws. Fastball, inside. Ruth swings, misses, strike 1. Collins throws again. Curveball, low. Ruth watches it. Ball 1, third pitch. Fastball, middle of the plate. Ruth swings. Contact. The sound echoes through the stadium. The ball rockets toward left field, climbing, higher, over the fence, home run, 3-run homer. Ruth rounds the bases slowly, tipping his cap to the crowd. They are on their feet, screaming, worshiping. Cobb watches from the Tigers' dugout, his jaw clenched so tight it hurts. Third inning, Cobb comes to bat. Yankees pitcher Herb Pennock is careful. Cobb is still dangerous, still fast. Pennock throws, outside, ball 1, throws again. Inside, ball 2. Third pitch, fastball. Cobb slaps it to left field, single. He sprints to first base, turns. Stares at the second baseman. That stare says, "If you are in my way when I steal, I will hurt you." Fourth pitch to the next batter. Cobb takes off. Stealing second, slide, spikes high. The second baseman, Aaron Ward, jumps out of the way. Barely avoids being cut. Cobb is safe. Stands up, dusts off. Looks at Ward. "Smart move, kid. I would have spiked you." Ward says nothing, just glares. Cobb grins. That is the game he knows. Fear and respect. But the crowd barely reacts. They are waiting for Ruth's next at-bat. 7th inning. Yankees lead 6-2. Ruth already has 2 hits. 1 home run, 1 double. Cobb is 1 for 3. A single and a stolen base. Decent game for anyone else. Invisible compared to Ruth. The dugouts are separated by maybe 30 feet. Close enough to hear conversations. Close enough for the tension to bleed between them. Ruth sits on the Yankees bench, drinking water, laughing with teammates. His voice carries. Always loud, always the center. Cobb sits on the Tigers bench, silent, staring. His teammates give him space. They know that look. That is the look before something bad happens. Tigers coach, Ty's friend George Moriarty, sits down next to Cobb. "Let it go, Ty. It is just a game." Cobb does not look at him. "It is never just a game." "You are letting him get in your head." "He is not in my head. I just hate watching baseball become a circus. Used to be a sport for athletes. Now it is a sport for clowns." Moriarty sighs, knows there is no point arguing. Across the dugout divide, Ruth stands up, stretches, getting ready for his next at-bat. He glances over at the Tigers' dugout, catches Cobb staring. Ruth grins, waves, mocking, friendly mocking, but mocking nonetheless. That is when Cobb snaps. Cobb stands up, walks to the edge of the Tigers' dugout, closest point to the Yankees' bench. 30 feet away, but might as well be 3 feet. The field goes quieter. Players on both sides sense something. "Hey, Ruth!" Cobb shouts. His voice cuts through the stadium noise. Ruth turns, still smiling. "What's up, Ty? Need some hitting tips?" The Tigers' dugout tenses. A few players laugh nervously. Ruth's teammates stop talking. This is unusual. Cobb and Ruth rarely speak directly. "You think you are something special, do not you?" Cobb says. His voice is loud enough that players can hear, but not the crowd. "Think you changed baseball? Think you are better than everyone who came before you?" Ruth's smile fades slightly. "I do not think I am special. I just hit home runs. People like it. That is all. People are idiots. They cheer for flash, for show. They do not understand real baseball, real skill." "Real skill?" Ruth steps closer to the dugout edge. "Ty, I hit .393 last year. I hit 41 home runs. I drove in 131 runs. What more do you want?" "I want you to stop pretending you are something you are not," Cobb says. His voice drops, gets colder, more personal. "You are a fat showboat, a carnival act. Your daddy was a drunk, and your mama was—" He says the word you do not say, the word about Ruth's mother. The stadium does not hear it, but every player in both dugouts hears it. The reaction is instant. Yankees players stand up, mouths open, shocked. Tigers players freeze, eyes wide. Did Cobb really just say that? Babe Ruth goes completely still. The smile disappears. His face goes blank, empty. For 5 seconds, nobody moves. The only sound is the crowd murmur, unaware of what just happened. Then Ruth starts walking, not running, walking, slow, deliberate, out of the Yankees' dugout, across the field, toward the Tigers' dugout. His hands are at his sides, no expression on his face, but everyone can see it. The storm coming. Lou Gehrig jumps up. "Babe, do not—" Too late. Ruth is already halfway across. Ty Cobb does not back down. Never has, never will. He steps out of the Tigers' dugout, walks toward Ruth. They meet near the third baseline. 30,000 people watching, not understanding what is happening, but knowing something is about to happen. Ruth stops 3 feet from Cobb, stares down at him. 6 inches taller, 40 pounds heavier. Cobb stares up. No fear, just hate. Pure, concentrated hate. "Say it again," Ruth says quietly. His voice is flat, empty, terrifying in its calmness. Cobb smiles. "Your mother was a—" Ruth's fist moves. Fast, faster than anyone expects from a man his size, connects with Cobb's jaw, solid, clean. The sound echoes. Cobb's head snaps back. He stumbles, does not fall, regains balance, wipes his mouth, blood on his lip. He grins. Bloody teeth. "That is all you got?" Cobb lunges, not a punch, a tackle. Drives his shoulder into Ruth's midsection. Both men crash to the ground, rolling, punching, clawing. Both dugouts empty, Tigers players running toward the fight, Yankees players running toward the fight, umpires running, coaches running, 30,000 fans on their feet, screaming, some excited, some horrified. Ruth gets on top of Cobb, pins him, throws punches. Cobb blocks most of them, scratches at Ruth's face. Dirty fighter to the end. Players arrive. Pulling them apart, takes 6 men to separate them, 3 holding Ruth, 3 holding Cobb, both still swinging, still trying to get at each other. "Let me go," Ruth roars. "I will kill him. I will kill you, Cobb." Cobb is quieter but no less intense. "Come on then, come on. I am right here." The umpires position themselves between the 2 groups. Head umpire Billy Evans shouts, "Both of you are ejected. Out, now." Neither man moves, still straining against their teammates, still staring at each other. Evans points toward the clubhouses. "Out, or I am forfeiting this game." Yankees manager Miller Huggins grabs Ruth's arm. "Babe, go. Walk away. He is not worth it." Ruth finally breaks his stare, looks at Huggins. Something in Ruth's eyes that Huggins has never seen before. Not anger, hurt, deep hurt. Ruth turns, walks toward the clubhouse. Slow, shoulders slumped. The crowd does not know how to react. Some boo, some cheer. Most are just confused. Cobb spits blood on the ground, walks toward the Tigers' clubhouse. Does not look back, does not regret anything. Never does. Before we continue, if this story is hitting harder than you expected, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. It helps us keep bringing these untold sports rivalries to life. And seriously, drop a comment. Where are you watching from? And here's the real question. Have you ever played baseball, or are you more of a fan watching from the stands? Let us know below. We read every single one. Yankees clubhouse. 20 minutes later, Babe Ruth sits alone on a bench, still in uniform, dirt on his jersey, blood on his knuckles, not his blood, Cobb's. His face is blank, staring at the floor. Lou Gehrig enters quietly, sits down next to him, says nothing for a minute. Then, "You okay?" Ruth does not answer. "Want to talk about it?" "No." Another silence. Then Gehrig speaks again. "For what it is worth, he deserved it. What he said, nobody should say that." Ruth finally looks up. His eyes are wet, not crying, but close. "My mother died when I was 19. Tuberculosis. She was not perfect. She was not a saint. But she was my mother. And she is dead. And he—" His voice breaks. He stops talking, clears his throat. He does not get to say that. Gehrig nods. "No, he does not." "I should not have hit him," Ruth says quietly. "I should have walked away. But I could not. I just could not." "Nobody blames you. The league will. I will get suspended. Probably fined. And for what? Because I let Ty Cobb get under my skin? He did not just get under your skin. He crossed a line. Everyone knows it." Ruth stands up, starts pacing. "You know what the worst part is? He wanted this. He wanted me to lose control. Wanted me to look bad. And I gave him exactly what he wanted. Maybe. But you also showed him he cannot just say anything without consequences." Ruth stops pacing, looks at Gehrig. "You think I should have let it go?" Gehrig thinks about it, then shakes his head. "No, some things you do not let go." Tigers clubhouse. Same time. Ty Cobb sits in front of his locker. His jaw is swelling, bruised, dark purple spreading. His manager, Ty Tyson, stands in front of him, arms crossed, furious. "What the hell were you thinking?" Cobb touches his jaw, winces. "I was thinking Ruth needs to be taken down a peg." "By insulting his dead mother? That is your strategy?" "It worked, did not it? He lost control, got ejected, cannot hit home runs from the clubhouse." Tyson leans down, gets in Cobb's face. "You got ejected too, genius, and now the league is going to come down on both of you. Suspensions, fines, bad press. Was it worth it?" Cobb meets his stare. "Yes." Tyson straightens up, shakes his head. "You are unbelievable. You know that?" "Unbelievable." He walks away. Other Tigers players avoid looking at Cobb. They heard what he said. Some agree with the strategy of getting in Ruth's head. None agree with how he did it. There are lines. Even in the dirty game of 1920s baseball, there are lines. Cobb just crossed all of them. But Cobb does not care. He never cares. That is what makes him Ty Cobb. That is what makes him the most hated man in baseball. And he wears that hate like armor. May 6th, 1924. Next morning. Newspapers across America, front page sports sections. Ruth and Cobb brawl at Navin Field. Baseball legends fight on field. Babe and Ty come to blows. The stories are vague. None of the reporters heard what Cobb said. They only saw the fight, so the articles speculate. Long-time rivalry boils over. Tension between old guard and new era. Cobb and Ruth represent different philosophies of baseball. All true, but none of them have the real story. What Cobb actually said, what really started the fight, the players know, but they are not talking. Code of silence. What happens on the field stays on the field. The American League office releases a statement. Both players suspended 5 games. Both fined $500. Both issued formal warnings. Another incident and suspensions will be longer. Ruth accepts the suspension, does not appeal, does not make a statement, just takes the punishment. Cobb also accepts, but he makes a statement to the press. "Ruth started it. I was just defending myself." The press eats it up. Some newspapers side with Cobb. Ruth's temperament becoming a problem. Others side with Ruth. Cobb's dirty tactics finally backfire. But again, nobody knows the truth. Nobody prints what Cobb actually said, because if they did, the public would turn on Cobb completely. And baseball does not want that scandal. The rivalry does not end. It intensifies. For the next 4 years, every time Yankees play Tigers, the tension is visible. Ruth and Cobb never speak to each other again. Not once. Not even years later when both are retired. On the field, Ruth makes it personal. Every game against Detroit, he tries harder, swings bigger, hits more home runs. Between 1924 and 1928, Ruth hits 27 home runs against the Tigers, more than against any other team. He is making a point. You cannot break me. You cannot stop me. Cobb, meanwhile, declines. 1924 is his last great season, .338 average, but after that, age catches up. His batting average drops. His speed fades. By 1928, he retires. Bitter, angry, unrepentant, Ruth plays until 1935, 11 more years. 714 career home runs, the most famous athlete in America, maybe the world. When Ruth retires, reporters ask him about his greatest rivalries. He mentions pitchers, mentions other teams. Never mentions Ty Cobb, because to Ruth, Cobb is not a rival. Cobb is something else, something darker. A reminder that talent without character is hollow, that winning without honor is meaningless. Ty Cobb is dying, stomach cancer, 74 years old, alone in a hospital room in Atlanta, Reporters come to interview him, ask about his career, his legacy, his memories. One reporter asks, "Any regrets?" Cobb thinks for a long time, then shakes his head. "No, I played the game the way it should be played. Hard, ruthless. That is how you win." What about Babe Ruth? You two had that famous fight in 1924. Cobb's expression darkens. Ruth was a showboat, made baseball soft, turned it into entertainment instead of sport. But he is considered one of the greatest players ever. By people who do not understand baseball, Cobb says. Real players know the truth. The reporter presses. Did you respect him? Cobb is silent for a long time. Finally, I respected what he could do with a bat, but I did not respect the man. Why? Cobb looks at the reporter. His eyes still have that ice, that hate, even after 37 years. Because he was everything I was not, and the world loved him for it, and I could not stand that. 6 months later, Ty Cobb died. The funeral was small, few teammates attended, fewer fans. He spent his final years writing letters, bitter letters, hateful letters, blaming everyone else for the loneliness of his life, never understanding that the loneliness was his own creation. Babe Ruth is dying, throat cancer, 53 years old, hospital room in New York, different ending. His room is full, family, friends, former teammates, fans sending letters, thousands of letters, children asking for autographs, adults thanking him for memories, radio stations playing tributes. A reporter asks Ruth, "Any regrets?" Ruth smiles. "Weak, but genuine. I wish I had taken better care of myself. Maybe I would have hit 800 home runs. But regrets? No. I lived exactly how I wanted." What about Ty Cobb? You two had that famous fight. Ruth's smile fades. That was a long time ago. Do you forgive him for what he said? Ruth thinks, then nods. Yeah, I forgive him. Not because he deserves it, but because holding on to hate is exhausting. Life is too short. Did you respect him? As a player? Absolutely. One of the best. As a person? Ruth shakes his head. No, but I pity him. He could have been loved, chose to be feared instead, and fear does not keep you warm at night. 2 months later, Babe Ruth died. The funeral was massive. 100,000 people lined the streets. Every player who ever met him attended. The nation mourned. And Ty Cobb, still alive, read about it in the newspapers and felt nothing. That is the real story of May 5th, 1924. Not just a fight between two baseball players, a collision between two philosophies. Cobb believed in winning at any cost. Ruth believed in winning with joy. Cobb played through fear. Ruth played through love. Cobb ended his life alone and bitter. Ruth ended his life surrounded and celebrated. The fight lasted 90 seconds. The consequences lasted lifetimes. Because in the end, how you win matters as much as whether you win. Ty Cobb never understood that. Babe Ruth always did. And that silence, that terrifying silence when Ruth stood up after the insult, that was not weakness. It was control. The control to not destroy a man who deserved destruction. The control to walk away knowing the best revenge was not violence. It was living a better life. And when both men were gone, history remembered one with love and one with disgust. That is the answer. That is Ruth's legendary response. Not the punch, the life he lived afterward.